Candace Owens back at it again. Okay, well,
We're
continuing on with now we're doing white people's business. And by that I mean Candace Owens. Candace Owens, they're white people's bravest warrior, okay? God has given Candace Owens the strongest warrior for the whites, the toughest of battles, okay? And she's out and about. She made a new documentary. Kanye West went for the documentary release. Let's see what Candace had to say today.
We've now somehow gotten into this society where people are pretending what we're doing is equality, and it's not. If we have ever achieved equality in this country, then you wouldn't blink if anybody says Asian lives matters, no one blinks. Black lives matter, no one blinks. But white lives matter, they fell apart, right? They fell apart because they actually, and I will stand by this as much as I possibly can, and I will be.
I've already talked about this earlier. There was a TikTok that we watched that, and if you want to know like the difference between white lives matter and anything else, and why it's fucking silly to even continue with this like ridiculous narrative that Candace herself knows very well is a ridiculous narrative that she's extending, a white supremacist one. I recommend you watch my video that I did on Kanye. I think it was maybe What Is Kanye Doing? Or Kanye Explains It All on Tucker Carlson interview. Both of those videos probably cover the difference, okay, between saying white lives matter and anything else. Whiteness is built around having power, and other non-white subgroups can be perceived as white, can be brought into the white umbrella, can be a part of the in-group. But whiteness in and of itself is a concept built around exclusion. There are plenty of white people that you now consider white, like Italians, Greek, Polish, Jewish people, Middle Eastern people, Latinos, that were originally not considered Irish, that were originally not considered white, and until they were. Okay? Whiteness cannot be defined on what it is. It can only be defined on what it's not. And what whiteness is not is black. So it can only be defined by the boundaries and its proximity to blackness. Okay? Your YouTube video, White People Don't Exist, was also good and educational. I have for similar videos on other topics. Yes. It's a historical societal thing, not a biological race. Yes. That's why I say I'm white all the time. I'm pale as fuck. I can't dance. I have no rhythm whatsoever. Okay? Sometimes I say things like, listen here, buddy. But then Twitch is like, you can't say the C word. My word. Why can't I say it? According to Twitch, not. According to, depending on what degree of racist you are, I am not. You see what I'm saying? Quite literally Caucasian. And there are motherfuckers out there that are like, you're Muslim, dog. You're Turkish. You're too hairy. You're too swarthy. You're trying to bring back Benjamin Franklin levels of racism. But I'm still white. I got white skin. I still have all the privileges, until they realize I, you know, until depending on who is looking at me, realizes I'm not. You know what I mean? But I am. I'm in stealth mode? Yeah. All right. Get back to Candace.
The loudest voice. The actually worst thing to be in this society, if one thing I would not want to be, is a straight white male. For some reason, that's considered problematic, right? You have to be something. It's like people lie.
Yeah, what's the reason? Candace knows what the reason is. But her entire job is to act like there is no reason. Her entire job is to whitewash white supremacy. Her entire job is to be the black female face to white supremacy so that other fucking racist aunts, grandmas, grandpas on Facebook can share her videos and say, hey, look, this is one of the good ones. She's saying it. Why can't I? That's her job.
Lie. They're lying on college applications. They're like, okay, I'm white, but I'm also trans. And you're like, what? Why are you pretending? Because, oh, I don't want people to think I'm too normal, right? And people, you know, they're just trying to find something that makes them not white, right? And it's really staggering to think that once upon a time, that is exactly what the experience was for a black American, that being a black American.
That's so funny. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's the same. One, white people are apparently lying about being trans, which she just fucking made up. And two, black people are, you know, hiding and lying about being white. And for the record, that's also a really weird thing that she's just dropping in there. One, if that was real, it's done for security. Okay, so you don't get fucking murdered. But ultimately, it's not. Because how the fuck can you hide that you're not black? Fuck does that work?
American was so problematic that you weren't.
By the way, I'm never reading your fucking thesis. On your earlier point, okay, I'm going to read it. $10 thesis here. I think it's because Africans view themselves based on which country they're from their perspective. They're Kenyan, Ghanaian, or Nigerian, not African American. They view the way African Americans are treated or something brought on because we are African American, and they think we should be excluded from that treatment because they're from a different country. Well, yeah, because black as a culture is definable. Why? Because it's a culture built around intergenerational trauma, shared trauma. It's a culture that black people were forced to create. Black people, specifically African descendants of slaves, don't fucking know if they're from Kenya or not. They're just black. Why? Because chattel slavery happened. Their language was ripped away from them. Their culture was ripped away from them. They were depersonalized. They were dehumanized. You're not black and you should never speak on black people, dumbass. Says Greedy the Goat 6. Yeah. You're right. I should stop talking about white supremacy as a political commentator in a country that was built around white supremacy. That's a 1,000% a white person trying to instigate that? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, let's let Candace talk instead. After all, she's black, right? Listen, Sweaty, you dare not talk. You dare not talk over a black woman about black issues, okay? That's how you get owned as a liberal, by the way. That's how you can weaponize identity politics. That's how reactionary people do weaponize identity politics. Which is ironic considering that right-wingers despise it, right? Supposedly. They don't. They just love it when it works in their favor. Don't be a sucker.
that once upon a time, that is exactly what the experience was for a black American, that being a black American was so problematic that you weren't going to be allowed into the room. Now you have the exact same thing happening reverse, and you have liberals trying to convince you that that's equality. It's not. All lives matter, and that's including white lives matter, you know?
She took Black Lives Matter's main message, which is all lives matter, but black lives don't matter at this moment. And black lives are a part of all lives, and flipped it on its head. What a horrible person. What a horrible person, dude. Absolutely drives me crazy how conservatives portray racism as only ever hurting people's feelings. I don't think we are redlining white people. We aren't subjugating them to slavery. We aren't making them go to distinct schools. Yeah. That's the main difference, right? Without any sort of like systems of oppression, racism is just a mean word. And because a lot of racist people refuse to recognize systemic racism, both its history and its contemporary implications, they always try to make the argument about, oh, well, it's hurting people's feelings. That's it.